All right, what did I miss? No, I'm just kidding. All right, I did watch. So let's try to sum this up because it's really not that difficult and you should actually be able to remember it. It's just a couple of key things before your race. So correct me if I'm mistaken somewhere. But so the first thing was actually cleaning the bike.
That's, I'd say, one of the most important ones. Yeah.
Double reason you want to race a clean bike.
Yep.
It's running smoothly, but you also, especially after traveling and so on, you can see if there was cracks in it or stuff like that. So that's a good thing. It's said to have happened before that airlines do break bikes.
I have heard it before.
It's crazy, but it does happen. All right. So next thing was, actually, I was very fortunate. You changed my chain. I got a brand new one. If you don't have time for that, you clean your chain, all right? And since I'm riding the 1x here, which is pretty wicked, by the way, I do change my cassettes quite a bit. So sometimes I'm riding an 1132 in the rear for courses with steeper climbs and so on. I'm riding an 1136 simply because I want to keep a 54 in the front for fast downhill sections or tailwind sections to just get the speed. So if you change the cassette, if you're riding something different on your training wheel, you want to make sure that you size your chain correctly when you put it on and make sure it runs smoothly afterwards.
Correct.
And then what I liked was the bit about the lubing.
Yeah.
All right, so that was a bit different to what I do. I used to, it's skirt lube or whatever it's called. I used that, but I've never done the wet lube before.
I think it's something, I mean, every mechanic is going to have their own system, whether it's lubing the chain or how they prep their bike. Some mechanics start in the front of the bike and they work from the nose to the tail and just work down the line. I have a system of starting with a clean bike, going to the drivetrain, cleaning it, prepping it, and then one of the final checks that I do with the drivetrain is lubing the chain. My thing with the wet lube, again, with a brand new chain and or a used chain, it helps. It almost acts as a degreaser. It helps cleaning the chain. So a little bit of a wet lube helps break down any of the grit and grime that's on the chain. Then you wipe it down, clean the chain, and then you do a final touch with the squirt lube is what I use. And again, coat that both on the top and the underside of the chain, the contact points, and then run it through the gears, and then wipe off any residual that may be on it, and then you're ready to go.
And the result is a nice and smoothly running drivetrain. So that's what we got here. Next thing is you went on to my cockpit, checking the bolts and everything, making sure they're all tight.
Yeah.
You would definitely want that. I've actually been there. So I had the bike, I changed the extensions and I put them on myself, and I realized during a ride I didn't put the front bolt in properly, so eventually it just tipped a little bit. Fortunately it didn't come off, it just tipped. So you want to make sure those are nice and tight. Alright, check them. That everything is. Anything else in terms of cockpit?
No, I think with the cockpit, again, just making sure that there's the main your stem and the stem bolts that both tighten your aero bar but also tighten it to the steer tube. Just again, with however you're traveling with your bike, whether you have to pull your handlebars off to put it in your bike bag, or just in general, it's a good thing to check. If you have a torque wrench, I recommend using it, but just making sure that they are snug, because some of the courses can be rough for transitions. All it takes is that one hit for those bars to slip, and hopefully, in your case, it was just slipped ever so slightly.
Just a little bit. And hey, the other thing is, of course, I do not always ride a disc. I sometimes ride 303 in training. I ride 808 on very hilly courses, for example. And now I'm riding the disc for Ironman Zurich. So they don't all have the same width, the same diameter. So the brake pads is the other thing that's really important.
Correct. So whether it's the actual brake pads themselves, but like you said, the spacing. So if you are running something like a Super 9 carbon clincher and training on a set of 303s, you should have already a set of carbon brake pads. We design brake pads to work with our rims. You want to make sure, so say you have a training set at home that are aluminum, you want to make sure that you take those aluminum pads, get them out of there before race day if you are going to be racing on carbon wheels. It'll be fine. They will stop you, but if there is a sustained descent or if it's raining, there's things with the way that they dissipate the heat, or when it's raining, they just may not grab at all. So just make sure that you are running the proper brake pad, and then check to make sure that brake shoe, the brake pad carrier is actually positioned properly and that by going from one wheel to the other, all of a sudden you're not actually braking on the sidewall of the tire. And again, over the first 10, 15K, you're braking a few times. If you are hitting that sidewall, next thing you know, you're on the wall.
So it's quite simple, and then your bike is race ready. So it's coming down to clean, drivetrain, cockpit, brake pads. Enjoy your race, or you do what I did, you just call Dan and have him take care of all that. But that might not be an option. Dan, thanks a lot.
Of course.
It's been fun.
It's been great.
And remember guys, that's how you set up your bike for your next race. Enjoy.